curious about it, be empathetic and human about it. When you judge others, even judge yourself, it's just such a blocker. I used to be also so much more judgmental about myself, and self-critic. Like it's a form of self-judgment. Hello, in the Good Company podcast, and I'm Alus Kitzman, with weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, thought provocation, all with the goal for you and me to have the most fulfilling, most aligned, most juicy life. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about rebranding this podcast because I want it to be more fun. I don't want to be good anymore. I am good. I don't have to prove it to anybody. I want the life to be juicy. So what about this juicy life? I know, completely not intellectual, completely not serious, but I don't want to be serious. I want us to tap in and go back to this like juiciness and fun of life. Also, lately I was thinking about this like first time when I came to America, and everybody was so happy, and it just aggravated me, the shit out of me. Because, in Poland, we are more on the grumpy side and serious side, and everybody was just so positive and happy, and it really annoyed me, and now I'm missing it. I am literally missing it. I was thinking about it, like it feels like lately for a second it felt less heavy, but overall it feels heavy, and people are tired and people are overworked, and yeah, like I feel like this positivity that used to be here is missing a little bit. Okay, let's see what happens with this juicy life. Okay, but today, should we talk about judgment? I would love to talk about judgment because it came out lately. I did a lot of work about it throughout the last several years, but I used to be extremely judgmental person. I never like super voice it out. I may have, but I feel like it was more like judgments in my head. But I really worked on it and with it, and became curious about it because I didn't really like it, and honestly, that ties to the beginning of this podcast, that, coming to America, like one thing that I completely fall in love right away was the fact that, you can really be who you want to be here, and there is no judgment. Like in Poland, if I dress certain way or whatever, there would be like talks and judgment that I would feel. And here it was just this total freedom of like just allowing myself to be who I am, or at least exploring it, and it was just like so not judgmental. But I was a judgmental person, and I started working on it, and I noticed a few things that I want to share. First thing is, personally, what I noticed is the more secure I became myself, the more self-aware I became, the more healed I became, the less judgmental I became. I think obviously sometimes judgment comes from insecurities, and this is like a basic level of working with judgment. It's like when the judgment comes up, asking yourself, is this my insecurity showing up in some way? Because a lot of my judgment were my insecurities, and the more secure in myself, in who I am and what I want I became, the less judgmental I became, because I not that I don't care what other people do, I do, but not in the judgmental way, right? So that's the first question, because there is also this good part of judgment is, sometimes we are judging people because we are not aligned on values, right? Like a lot of politics and things that are going on in the world right now, right? We are judging it, but it's not this judging from insecurity standpoint, but it's more judging from the misalignment in values, right? Like the values and what we believe in is not aligned here. But it was really interesting to do a little bit more research on judgment, and actually judgment. And I love when I learn something that kind of destigmatifies something, right? Like judgment is really something that our brain is wired for, and it's really comes from like an early human history when we had to like quickly judge, are we safe, are we what is is this person dangerous or not? And this is how our brain is wired. So we are wired, unfortunately sometimes we use this cognitive shortcuts, and instead of analyzing the details of a person, right? Like our brain is not going to do it. It just right away goes to like stereotypes, appearance, surface level things, social things we were taught, right? Because it doesn't have time, doesn't want to go deeper. But when we work with judgment, this going a little deeper and being more empathetic and human-like is so important. Because let's start from the beginning, how to work with judgment. So obviously, as with everything, we want to not act on it, right? Like we notice this judgmental thought, right, about somebody. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's living her life like this, right? Whatever it is she's doing. I wanted to bring a specific example, but I won't. Uh, anyway, so, right? So first thing is stop not acting from it in any capacity. Not go further with this judgment. Then became curious. Curiosity, they taught us different things, but this is the best tool for us to just, instead of going specific direction, just ask question about it, right? Like, that's interesting. I became judgmental of this person. We don't create, when we become curious, which is I love about curiosity, is we don't create any kind of tension, right? Between subject or person or whatever and us, right? We just become interested and become interested about your judgment, right? It's so interesting that I became judgmental about how she lives her life or what she does in her life, right? What does it mean? And then obviously we have to go into a little interrogation, like why did I become so judgmental? Is it something that is popping up in me? Some kind of, I'm insecure somewhere. I wish I had that much courage to live that way. I wish I was that open-minded. I wish I don't know, I was that free, and not worried about what other people say. That's why I judge how she lives her life, right? Or is it like, well, I'm judging her because our values are completely misaligned. Like, I don't believe that that's okay. I don't believe that my system of my beliefs is different. And I don't believe that's okay to do and be that way and live that way, right? Completely two different things, you know what I mean? And noticing it's so important, because it really can put this judgment in this good judgment bucket, and more of the unsecure, not a positive one. And then, I think last step, wherever the judgment comes from, is it from values or is it from insecurities? It's this idea of like noticing humanity and being empathetic and practicing empathy, not only to that person, right? Like, mm, I am, I feel, I kind of, I'm trying to understand you. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Oh, like going to these details, right? Like the initial judgment is all about stereotypes, about social norms we were taught, surface level, but going a little inside, like, oh, I understand why she lives that way, right? Maybe that's what she needs. Maybe that's what she's called for, and I'm different, and I'm not called for it, right? Or even if it's values one, right? Like, I understand. I don't. Um, I don't agree with it, but I understand that sometimes you may be pushed to live certain way, and um, and your circumstances can um make you do things, right, that I don't agree with, right? Like, we still don't agree with, but we have this level of empathy, understanding humanity, that we all, like, human part of us, right, that we all trying to do our best. Like, this assumption, like, I always try to think about people that way, that we all are doing our best, like, greatest teacher of that is my family, closest family to me, right? Like, I want to assume they all doing their best, the best they can where they are, with what they work with who they are, and what their story is, and what their capacity is, and what their traumas is, and what their healing level and growth level is. So including this element of humanity and empathy is so important also towards us, right? Because if this judgment comes from our insecurities, we want to be empathetic, and we want to be humane to ourselves, understand them. This is something I need to work on, right? Like, this is something I need to examine, I need to heal, I need to grow out of. And this is this beautiful thing about judgment, that, usually it has such a pejorative um, a connotation, right? Like meaning uh, to it. But judgment can be really good, can actually further your growth, your healing, and be something that supports you on this way to becoming more yourself, more having more fulfilling, more juicy, this juicy life. It really does. So I wish for all of us myself. I feel like I did a lot of work, and I really am so much less judgmental. And it also came from, in me, I feel like it came from environment that I was in. Like, in my house, there was this a lot of element of judgment. Also, why we judge? Because judgment makes us feel better about ourselves. You know what I mean? Like this little trick, like, oh my God, how does she live? How does she can live her life like this? Are you serious? And then I am here and she is here. You know what I mean? Like, I am this upper, better person, and when I judge, the other person is less off, which make us feel better on some level. That's a nice trick to remember too. So anyway, like everything, it's all human, juicy experience. So let's not judge ourselves about judging others and judging overall. Let's work with judgment. Let's use it as everything. We can use it to our heal growth advantage. Be curious about it. Be empathetic and human about it. When you judge others, when you even judge yourself, self-judgment. Oh my God, it's just such a blocker. I used to be also so much more judgmental about myself, and self-critic. Like, it's a form of self-judgment. And also that brings me to another point. I'm always like forgetting things. Uh, that the more we love ourselves, really, the self-confidence and knowing, understanding yourself, how you work, who you are, what you want, that's part. But the more we love ourselves, the less judgment we have for others. It goes parallel. I literally noticed that, the more love I had for myself, obviously I had the more love for others and space for others, and there was less judgment. So that's a good one to understand and practice. Okay, so are you a judgy person? Where is this judgment coming from? You're not a bad person. It's not bad to judge. Again, we are wired for it. It's something we have to work at, but differentiating it, where is this judgment coming from? Is it truly judgment based on values and what we believe in? Or versus, is it showing us some beautiful, juicy insecurity we have to work on, and heal. So until the next time, a little bit of judgment, healthy judgment, FYI, healthy judgment when delivered with empathy can be actually very constructive. It's a constructive criticism when you think about it. Like when you judge somebody with empathy and in a really constructive way, it's a constructive criticism with empathy. Anyway, so until the next time, love, light, a little bit of judgment, and all other stuff.